Yo, okay, I'm a little sleepy, but let's get this show on the road. Questions 70 through 76. Alright, so when asked a certain question in a poll, 72% of the people polled answered yes. If 56 people did not answer yes to that question, what is the total number of people who were polled? Okay, so 72% of the people answered yes, right? So that means that the remaining percent, which is 28%, said no, right? 28% of what? We don't know the total, right? So let's call that total T, right? So if I say 28% of T, do we know what that is? Yeah, 56. So that's an equation. So now I can just convert this English. 28% is 0.28 of means times T is equal to 56. And then you just solve for T, right? By dividing this by 0.28, dividing this by 0.28. Okay, and then if you do that properly, you should get H. Okay, 71. A museum has room in the shape of a rectangle. The area of the floor is 960 square feet. So to give the area, in a scale drawing of the museum, 1 inch is equal to 20 feet. So this scale is like a rule, okay? Let's follow that. If the length of the room is 2 inches in the scale drawing, what is the width? So we have to find the width, the W, in the scale drawing. Okay, so they gave us the area already of the actual museum, 960 square feet. Okay, if the length of the room, they didn't give that to us, they only gave it to us in the scale form, 2 inches. So that means that I should convert the 2 inches using this rule to get the actual length. Well, 1 inch is 20 feet, so that means 2 inches is twice that, so that would be 40 feet. So L is equal to 40. So that means that area is equal to length times width. So it's 960 is equal to 40 times W. And then you just divide by 40 on both sides. Zeros go away, and then you just get 96 divided by 4. And then what is that? 24. So 24 is the width, and that is feet. Right? That's the real width. But they're looking for it in scale. Well, 24 is 24 feet is the real width, right? And we know that the scale is this. 1 inch is equal to 20 feet. So that means that we can set a proportion, right? So we could say that, okay, 1 inch for every 20 feet is the same as X inches, I don't know what that is, over 24. Okay, 24 feet, right? And then you can cross multiply, or I'm just going to be lazy and I just do this piece, multiply both sides by 24, and you get 24 over 20 is equal to X. And if you simplify that, that should be, you divide by 4 top and bottom, that's going to give you 6/5. And 6/5 is equivalent to 8. Okay, great. 72. I'm so drowsy. Okay. Program on a computer randomly generates a sequence of whole numbers from 1 to 9 inclusive. Okay, so if the computer generates a sequence of 300 numbers, what is the best prediction of the number of odd numbers in the sequence? Okay, so you're generating 300 numbers, right? From using only 1 to 9, so no 0. Okay, and they're asking you make the best prediction of the number of odd numbers. There's probably probability involved, right? There is, okay, of odd numbers in the sequence. Okay, so there's a total of 300 on the bottom, and odd numbers from 1 to 9 is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, and the even numbers in that list is this: 2, 4, 6, 8. So that means that in this fraction, right, since we're not counting 0, please be careful. That means just from this pool of options, that's 5 choices for the odds over total options, just 9. I'm using rules of probability, right? I can talk more about that in another video. The theory goes very deep, but you can think at this level it's just the number of ways of getting a particular event over all possible outcomes, okay? So number of ways of getting the particular event, you can think of this like all outcomes for that event, but okay, all right, I digress. So that's got to be 5 nines, okay? And if you're doing this for 300, that means that we can set a proportion, right? So 5 nines has got to equal something, x over 300. And now we just got to solve for x. And then similar to the other question, you can cross multiply, where just multiply both sides by 300 is the fast way. So you do 300 times 5 nines, which is equal to x. And then, yeah, that's going to be, if you divide by 3 on top and bottom, that's going to become 100 times 5 over 3. So it's 500 over 3. 500 over 3, you do that math, let's just long divide. It's been thrown back, so in a while. So it's 3 to 5, that's 1, 3, 2, 0, 6, and then it repeats. So it's going to be 166 or something, so it's got to be H. Okay, great. 73. So these questions, you see, there's like a lot of the math topics integrated together. You need to know how to use these things. Okay, so 73. A truck rental company charges a one-time fee of $40 plus $1 per mile driven. So it looks like it's going to be a constant 40 plus 1 times m, which is equivalent to just m. And I'm saying m is the number of miles driven. So that's going to be the fee, okay, to use the truck company. Now, Dahlia rented a truck and used a coupon for 20% off of the total rent cost. 20% off. Well, the total rent cost is 40 plus m, right? As a function of the mileage. And you're taking 20% off of that, right? So what percent of this are you paying? That's 80%. So that means what you pay is 80% of this, right? But let's continue reading. After the coupon was applied, she spent a total of $60. Okay. So do you see what the next step is? It's this expression that represents the total amount after the discount of 20% off. And we're told that that equals 60. So that means that just changing the English into math, that's going to be 0.80 times 40. Oh, I should put this in parentheses, right? Because of the price expression is equal to 60. And we just got to solve for m. So let's do that. So then you divide both sides by, you can get rid of the 0, right? You could just divide this by 0.8, and then you get 60 divided by 0.8 minus 40 is equal to m. Okay? I'm being very, very lazy here, but okay, for the sake of teaching, let me just finish this. So 0.8 is the same as saying 4/5, which is the same as dividing by 4/5 is the same as multiplying by 5/4 minus 40. So then 60 over 4, that's 15. 15 times 5 is 75. 75 minus 40, so the answer's got to be D. Okay, great. Next page. Okay, more probability. The probability of drawing a red candy at random from a bag of 25 candies is 2/5. Okay, so drawing a red candy at random from a bag of 25 candies is 2/5. Okay, so they're telling you that the total number of options, right, in the bag is 25. Okay, and the number of reds, let's call that R, I don't know that, is equal to 2/5. Well, pause. You see what I'm going to do next, right? I'm going to solve that proportion. So you can cross multiply, but these numbers are easy, so just look, right? 5 times what gives you 25? Times 5. So I multiplied the bottom by 5, so I got to do the same thing on the top, right, to preserve the equality. So that means R is equal to 10, all right? Now they're saying what happens? After 5 red candies are removed from the bag, okay, so that's going to be 5. What is the probability of randomly drawing a red candy from the bag? Well, we know that R is 10, but if I'm removing 5 here, right? So that's going to be 5 reds now, and I should also deduct the 5 from the total number of candies. So it's going to be 5 over 20 is the new probability, right? And then you simplify that, dividing both top and bottom by 5, you get 1/4, which is H. Okay. Algebra. Oh yeah, so look, each number in a sequence is formed by doubling the previous number. Ooh, okay, doubling the previous number and then adding 1 to it. If the ninth number in the sequence is 63, so they tell you specifically, I made a video on sequences, by the way. Okay, this is talking about that, so that might be helpful. If the ninth number in the sequence is 63, what is the 10th number minus the 7th number? Okay, so that means that we need to find the 10th and then the 7th and then subtract it. Okay, well, we know the ninth. The ninth is 63, and we have the formula in purple that gives us the how to get the next one, and we can also find the previous one this way, right? Doubling the previous number and then adding 1. So the ninth, if we make that the previous number, so if we double that, that's going to be 126 plus 1, which is 127th. Okay, so that's the 10th number, right? Because I'm applying this formula, right? And then to find the 8th number, so this is the 10th, and then the 8th number, I use the ninth, which is 63, right? And then I go backwards, right? So 63, and then how did I get here to 63? Well, I doubled the previous number and then added 1 to it, so I should do the inverse of that, right? So I should deduct 162, and then shrink that, right? Half it. So it's going to be 31, okay? Now, Mr. Young, how do you know if that's right? Well, we can go forward and check, right? And apply the formula to see if we get 63 back. If we add 1, that's 32, and you double that. No, what am I saying? It says you doubled this previous number now, right, which is 62, and then you add 1, and that's going to be 63. So this is correct for the 8th. Okay, so you see you can test it right there, like by yourself. Right, so there was no mistake so far, and then now I have to do the same thing, and I go backwards again, right? So I do the inverse, so I subtract 1, so it's going to be 30, and then I half that, it's going to be 15. Okay, great. So I know the 7th number now, and I know the 10th number, so it's 127 minus 15, and that's just going to be 112, which is choice C. C. Okay. If this is a little confusing, this topic is algebra and inverses, very important topics in mathematics, but think of it like this. I remember a professor was giving this analogy when I was like taking linear algebra before with like inverse matrices and things. It's like shoes and socks law. But just think of it like this. Okay, look. You first put on your socks and then your shoes. If you want to undo that, you can't take off your socks first, right? You have to first take off the shoes now and then the socks, right? So pause the video and see if that makes sense, and then yeah, try it yourself and play with the numbers. Okay, great. 76. At a skating championship, there are 7 judges who each award a score for each skater's performance. Okay, so each of these are scores for the skaters. The highest and lowest scores given to each skater are removed, discarded, and the mean, which is the same thing as average, of the remaining scores is then calculated, okay, and reported as a skater's final score. What is the final score for the skater who received the score shown above from the judges? Okay, so they're asking you to just find the average, the mean, after removing the biggest and smallest numbers from this list. So step 1, use your eyes and find the smallest and biggest numbers in this list. So if I can use my eyes properly, sometimes I can't, right? But 8.2, that's the smallest, and it looks like the biggest is this. So that means I remove this and I don't look at these. Okay, so then that means what am I averaging? Averaging these. Okay, so that means how do you find the average again? You add up all the numbers and you divide by the number of numbers. Well, now the number of numbers is not 7, it's 5 because we removed 2, right? And now we just got to find out what that sum is for these numbers. Okay, so you can add these, the decimals, but here's a fast trick. These numbers look all close to 9, right? So look what I'm going to do. This is the good test-taking strategy, right? Pretend all of these are 9s, okay? So how many 9s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 45. But then now I have to deduct the extra from each one. So let me count all the stuff I have to deduct for each. 8.9, how far is that from 9? That's 0.1, right? 8.5 is 0.5 away from 9. All these colors. 0.1, 0.5, 0.6, 0.4, and 0.2, right? And now just add that. So it's 0.1 plus 0.5, which is 0.6. 0.6 plus 0.6 is 1.2, 1.2, 1.6, 1.8. So it's 45 minus 1.8, And notice you have to line up the decimals, and 45 is a whole number, so that means that there's low-key a decimal to its right. And then you just subtract this. So this is 10, this is 4, this is going to be 3, it's going to be 43.2. That's the top. So now we do 43.2 divided by 5. Okay, goes into this 3, goes down to 6, so 8.6, and then 30, and then 2, 0, it's going to be 8.64, if I did that correctly. G, okay? Alright, so this is not too bad. I feel like I'm a little drowsy, makes me a little calmer. So it's a little better, but yeah, I owed you guys a video, so yeah, good luck, study hard, think hard, and be smart. Bye.